very positive. Honestly, I think we would not have expected much more. I think we are very fortunate to also have a good location within the expo. But the activity is great. We've had a lot of customer visits early in the morning on the first day. So honestly, cannot ask for more. Very positive. Few things we're working on. As you know, Brakes India works across the passenger car segment as well as the commercial vehicle segment and then tractor and off-highway. We're showcasing few of our innovations here. If you look at the passenger car side, even when we last spoke, there are a few things we've been working on, especially related to the transition to electric vehicles. So, two things we're showing here. Actually, more than two, but I think a few. I'll just highlight two of them. One is the eboost, right? So, we are looking at for electric vehicles, non-vacuum based brake boosting. So, we have a product here which we call the Motoron Actuator, which basically for any hybrid or electric vehicle, it blends the brake force between what your pedal applies and what the regeneration of the vehicle can work on. So this allows for seamless regeneration in the battery side as well as for safety critical braking as needed. So this is what all modern electric and hybrid vehicles will use. So we're showcasing some of our concepts in that space, which will come to production in the next few years. In addition to that, we're showcasing the Motoron Drum Brake here, which is going into production in the next months, as well as we have several orders, not just in the domestic market, but also in the export market. So that is showcased. We also have one high performance product, not specifically targeted EVs, which is our opposed piston caliper. It happens to perform well in EVs as well because EVs have high acceleration and braking requirements. They also have low drag requirements, so you don't want any losses in the vehicle. So the opposed piston caliper is a very high performance caliper. So whether it's some of your high-end electric vehicles in the market today, I think this will be great products that not just show performance, but also they just look really good, right? So with wheels getting more open, I think it will be a very appealing factor for the passenger car segment. On the commercial vehicle segment, we've been talking over the last couple of years about entering the entire pneumatic braking space. We always did the wheel and brakes. So with the entire pneumatic system, the plumbing that we do in commercial vehicles, Brakes India showcasing the full range today. And this has gone into production both with OE customers as well as the aftermarket. So our product range is fully available and signed up pretty much all the OEs there. So we're very happy about that and showcasing that today. I think for us, there's a lot happening which is not EV related. So if you look at the changes we're going through in terms of braking, we are very happy to be insulated from some of the talk of EV and powertrain, because whether it's battery electric or hybrid or hydrogen ICE, that doesn't matter as much as you rightly said. Where things get more complicated in the braking world is to do with efficiency, regeneration, as well as the entire safety aspect. So there's a lot of new regulation coming in the country on safety, whether it's electronic stability control, automatic emergency braking, some of the ADAS features that might get mandated in the future. So a lot of our R&D work is going into those areas rather than purely on what happens because of EV. There is, of course, as you said, a lot of work that we need to do for EVs as well, which will happen. I think the transition being a little bit slower gives us a little bit more time on that end, but we get to work on some of the other aspects of features, Motoron Drum Brake or Motoron Caliper. The amount of flexibility a driver or a vehicle designer gets, just because you don't have the handbrake lever, the force required, the space opens up. So we're able to provide other features that are interesting and exciting. TSF Group, one of the things we prided ourselves is always being world class, even if we are operating within the Indian segment, right? So whether it's on quality, delivery, all those aspects, we worked with MNC, OEMs from a very early stage. And I think our quality and supply chains are geared for going global. At the TSF Group, we already export significantly across the companies, whether it's Brakes India, Wheels India, Turbo Energy. There are significant exports today, right? Over 3,000 crores is the export base that we have across the group. So just looking at that, I think both from a supply chain angle as well as from a design angle, some of the products we do are already geared for the global market. So I think when you talk about the Prime Minister's vision, for India being able to supply the world, some of our companies are there already. What it really requires at this point is to make sure that we have the right front end, the right interface with all these OEMs to really grow that much faster. And that is something we're actively working on. Innovation comes as part of some of this design concept. So one thing I will say about innovation is, in the last 3 to 4 years, we have actually been able to increase our speed of R&D very significantly. As you know, Brakes India went through a big change coming out of a joint venture with TRW and ZF. So post that, we've actually partnered with many institutions, whether academic institutions or research groups, and we've accelerated our R&D very significantly. Some of them are domestic groups that we work with, some of them are international institutions that we work with. So what I'm very happy with is the mindset of the companies has really changed to cater to some of the global needs we're talking about, and I would say our R&D output has grown 2 to 3x in the last few years. Very happy about that. Along with that comes the agility. So customers today, because they are going through a lot of transition on EVs and ADAS, they want you to respond much faster. And that's why I think we have a big advantage is we're a relatively small company in the global scheme of things, and we're able to adapt to their changes much faster. Lastly, on sustainability, I think this has been on our group's radar for several decades. Um, we've been working on this inherently, whether it's rainwater harvesting, having a very open and green factory so that employees feel like they're working in a place that's sustainable has been a big focus for us. In the last 2 years, the global inputs that we've gotten have made us get a little bit more systematic about it. So we track various things such as, our carbon intensity across the power we source as well as the operations that we do, a lot of our waste material generation and seeing how we can reduce that, conservation, whether it's water, other resources, many of those are coming in. And while we are looking at what targets to commit to, we're also looking at which systems to follow, whether it's the science-based targets, the SBTI initiative, or others that will align not just with what we want to do as a group, but also with what customers will accept from us as a global benchmark. With respect to the show, I think we know many of the customers we're dealing with. It's great to get them here at the show just because when we meet them in a B2B setting, sometimes it's very targeted on certain products or certain RFQs that we are working on. Here, I think it's a showcase, like you very rightly said, not just of the breadth of the portfolio, but also the capability that's there, not just in Brakes India, but across the group, right? So I think that is something that opens many people's eyes. They say, oh, we don't know that you did this, or we can also take this. So I think it's a very interesting opportunity there. So I think interfacing with customers in a different context is always great for us. With respect to the next year, I will look into a crystal ball and honestly say that it's a little murky, right? The year that's been going by has been up and down, and while we've had a little bit of a dip in the first half of the year, things seem to be picking up right now. We've seen the last couple of months start to pick up, and I think Q4 will end on a little bit of a high note. So for 2025-26, one of the big things that impacted us during the course of the last year was a significant drop in exports because of global uncertainty, Europe not doing as well. So we're hoping for a little bit of a comeback in the export market. We're also hoping that the domestic market on the passenger car side will continue to grow at a reasonable rate. Commercial vehicles we are still very uncertain about, and many of our customers are, so no predictions there on as yet.